That one is a panicle of RUFI Pogon, one of the few that I've seen at Lake Apo today. Good morning, everybody. Maayong adlaw para sa ating tanan. Welcome to JoyBeans. And it's Saturday and it's a special day for me. That's why I came to Lake Apo on a mission, and that is to came here on a mission, and that is to check how the RUFI population is on this lake. So RUFI is RUFI Pogon. It is one of the wild rices, or it's one of the wild relatives of Oryza sativa. It's one of the 24 or 26 Oryza species, and in the Philippines, it's only in Bukidnon where we can find Oryza rufi Pogon. And initially, Oryza rufi Pogon, which we nicknamed RUFI, had been found only in Lake Apo, along the banks of Lake Apo. But we also found that Lake Napalit, also here in Bukidnon, would have some populations of Oryza rufi Pogon. But today, I came here because I'd like to indulge the request of a friend, my friend Florence, who wanted to know the status of Oryza rufi Pogon here in the lake. The first sign of Oryza rufi Pogon population that I have found today would be around 350 meters away from the entrance of the lake. Alright everyone, I'm going to attempt to go closer to the first clump of Oryza rufi Pogon that I have found in Lake Apo today. Just to check it and to take a close photograph of the panicle. Some of the spikelets are actually mature already. So I have my stick with me so that, well, I need to check the depth of the water. All right. So, oh, there you go. I can pull it back now because it's closer. So there. That is the Oryza rufi Pogon. The clump here is associated with a lot of species. Colocasia, the purple colocasia, and yeah, a lot of weedy species, broadleaves. Many of them are invasive. So I hope that this clump here of Oryza rufi Pogon, you can see the rhizomes there. So those are the rhizomes of Oryza rufi Pogon. I hope they will continue to survive. And yeah, I think we need to really get samples next semester so that we can really conserve them at XC2. By the way, there are so many fish that come near me. I think they're shrimps, and they are trying to eat up my feet. Maybe I have a lot of cuticles and dry skin, so they are trying to feed on me. I found the first sign of Rufi Pogon because of one panicle. I feel bad about that. Hopefully, in the next few steps, I will find more. So, yep. So that is the wild hibiscus. It looks like it's a pink ochre-like plant, but very small. And I found that it is growing submerged on the lake water. So does it mean that it has adapted to a waterlogged or submerged condition? Hi, this is the second clump of Erizo Rufi Pogon I've found here, around just about 5 to 6 meters from the first clump of Erizo Rufi Pogon. So I'm glad to find some more. And again, Erizo is highly associated with a lot of species, especially Colocasia. And I'm going to show you some new, this one. It's the first time that I've seen this. What are these? First time that I've seen this aquatic plants here. Or have I seen them before? I just did not see them before, but I would have noticed. But this is my first time to really see this. So what you see is a stretch of the bank of Lake Apo, and before, way back in the early 2000s, it used to have a lot of RUFI clumps. And there are actually many people living around the lake now. Some of them are doing some crop cultivation, so a lot of areas have been cleared up. And also there are fisher folks who do their business in the area, and that is one of the things that maybe, well, some of them are clearing areas along the banks to give way to their fish cages. Goat! Hey, goat! 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 Today is my special day. It's Saturday and I'm here in Lake Apo because I want to do something special and also to indulge the request of a friend, Florence. And this is also dedicated to a very good friend of mine who was a former thesis advisee and who is now a co-author. Well, basically is the main author of a paper that was recently accepted to the Philippine Journal of Science, and we look forward to having the final print and the final copy first quarter of next year. So, welcome to Lake Apo, the home of RUFI Pogon. Here in the Philippines, it's only found in Bukidnon, and the first report of RUFI Pogon populations would be here in Lake Apo, and since 2000 I have been coming here almost on an annual basis to check out the populations of RUFI Pogon and just to monitor how it is doing. And through the years, I've seen the population dwindle to a critical level, especially this year. Perhaps it's because there are already a lot of inhabitants living around the lake, and they are growing their family gardens, they are clearing some spaces along the banks. And inadvertently, they have cleared out some of the major clumps of the RUFI Pogon. So that's kind of sad. So I think starting next semester, we need to do some serious collection of RUFI Pogon that we can conserve ex situ in Central Mindanao University, and I hope to also talk to the LGU Ginoyoran, because if they plan to develop Lake Apo to be a better ecotourism site, then I think one of the attractions would be to really conserve and preserve the RUFI Pogon. they have bragging rights to have um, the first populations of Rufi Pogon or Rufi found here in Lake Apo. Although there's a second set of populations in Lake Napalit in Barangay Pigtaoranan in Pangantupan. But that is a bragging right, and Rufi Pogon had been used as a good gene source for several biotic and abiotic stress tolerance that had been incorporated into rice varieties such as tumor resistance. And so I think they really need to be aware of how important Rufi Pogon is to rice production in the Philippines. Of course, both for short-term and long-term gains. My first project in Botany 20 under Dr. Aguilar was to showcase the diversity of the genus Oryza, and the International Rice Research Institute, or IRI, in Laguna had been very generous to give me samples of seeds of different Oryza species, and I believe that my poster had been displayed in the Natural Museum of UPLB for a few years before it was taken down. Most of the botanists would feature other plant species, but since I was doing biology and also agriculture, especially MS in plant genetic resources, conservation and management, and I wanted to showcase things that they are not aware of, especially how diverse Oryza is, the genus Oryza, and that was my beginning of my interest in this genus, and it continued even after I graduated. So since I finished my master's, I have been coming back to Lake Apo almost on an annual basis to monitor the natural populations of Rufi here, and sometimes with my students. Today I'm alone, but on January of this year I was with two students from the Philippine Science High School of Caraga and also my student assistant. So we were here in January before the lockdown, before COVID-19 happened, and there were still some Rufi Pogon clumps here, and I'm glad to find some of them. But I think the population of Rufi Pogon now is kind of critical. This is the best spot so far that I have found, with a lot of Rufi Pogon, with a lot of panicles, and a lot of mature grains. And again, I have a very simple wish that those grains, many of them are viable so that they can grow new Rufis. Just gonna show you this area here. Makes me so happy to see. There's a lot of them, plenty of them right now. The reason why there is a lot of Rufi Pogon on this patch of the lake is that there are still no inhabitants on this area. I also see one of my favorite wild legumes, and that is Senatora or Cassiatora before. This was one of the species that have been studied by 4 or 5 of my thesis students. We also published a paper for this crop. It has a lot of potentials. So I am finishing up my tour of the lake for this year. I'm glad to be here on December 19th, special day for me, and I'm happy to learn that RUFI is very resilient in surviving. And for the next semester, when I bring my students with me,